Welcome to the Learning Curve, powered by Tutoring, the podcast for education owners who care as much about their spreadsheets as they do their students. I'm Adam, and I'm here to get into the weeds of running a successful business with Lowell. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Adam. Hi, everyone. My name is Lowell, and I am a co-founder of Talentport Asia. And what we do is that we do pretty much like an AI consultancy firm, um, running here, based in Singapore.
So, yeah, please explain that a bit. AI is pretty new. What does an AI consultancy firm mean?
Yeah, I love that question, Adam. So what we do is that Teleport Asia. I have to go a little bit way back, but I'll cut the long story short. So Teleport Asia started really as a talent solution to help companies here in Singapore and actually worldwide gain access to remote talents there in Vietnam. So we have a team in Vietnam taking care of our wonderful talents there, and what our company saw was that we love to evolve, right? And we see that as AI is coming in and everything, companies are starting to want to adopt AI, right? And Adam, can I ask you a quick question? Have you yourself used any AI
Of
platforms
course.
recently?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many a times, a lot of companies we see when they think about AI, they think about prompts, right? They think about just asking ChatGPT a question. ChatGPT, what is the weather like today? Help me to do this, help me to do that. But we realize that many companies don't really exactly know what AI is, and they don't tap into the full potential of what AI can do for their company. And that's where we come in, right? We hear your problems and we use AI to come up with a solution. Now, remember earlier I shared that we are ultimately at the start a talent solution company, right? So we don't just want to leave you hanging there with, okay, we are done with the AI solution, so here you go. We continue with providing an after support with our tapped Vietnamese talents based there in Vietnam.
Tell me how this came about. How did you
Yeah.
come into this business?
Yeah, so but it's a funny story, right? Because now I am in education here in Singapore, right? And then I think maybe that's why we got connected and we vibe so well. We're both in the education industry. So I came across a couple of uh profiles of other co-founders in other founders in the education space in Singapore, and very fortunately, I came across one of my co-founder who's currently my co-founder, and we talked about talent solutions. We say how there's really a rising cost of talent here in Singapore, and it's getting harder to do business, right? I would say that jobs that really require a lot lesser skill um ended up taking up a lot of our time as business people, because you it's too costly to hire someone to do it for you. And we say, hey, you know what, like, this is a big problem. Do we have a solution for it? And that's when we realized that both our companies actually do offshore services. Like we do yeah, we do have some of our services offshore. These includes like simple things like typing of our worksheets, getting someone to handle some back end admin support. And that's when we realized, like, hey, do we think that businesses need these? And we said, yes, I think so, right? So that we can free up time and resources in the company to allow them to hire people to do what I would call the the more mundane work, while the founders themselves can then concentrate on more important tasks. Yep. And so that's how we came about.
It's an interesting business model because usually, yeah, you're outsourcing mundane tasks, and people have talked a lot about AI just replacing that entirely. And
Yeah.
you are outsourcing the AI tasks,
Yeah.
which is very interesting because, I know a lot of people were afraid of like, oh, AI is going to like wipe out jobs, but you're
Yep.
using this talent pool along with AI. And I've never really
Yeah.
seen that before. If you want to kind of talk about how
Of course.
that makes you stand out a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the thing is, many times when we speak to founders, it really came through a lot of conversations, right? Initially we wanted to sell the talent, right? And we basically sell the talent to you, and you can do you manage the talent yourself. You get a talent to do whatever task. The idea sounds great, right? I can offload some of my workload at a much lower cost. But the problem starts to come in because people don't know how to use a virtual assistant, a talent that's so far away from you, right? And we saw that businesses like the idea, but ultimately it's about them adopting the idea. And so I would say that it wasn't it the it didn't gel as well as we thought it initially would. And then when AI came in and it's such a big thing, and we realized, hey, like, what can we do differently? We don't want to just help you adopt AI. Many companies are just adopting AI, and we go back to ultimately the heart of what we do, which is that we believe in our talents in Vietnam, where we really value them. And we see that the reason initially of why Vietnam is because we see that there were so many untapped talents. They're great, they're hardworking, and we wanted to really help them to drive businesses here in Singapore, right? And so we saw that, hey, this is an opportunity. We don't just give you an AI system that, let's just be honest. We have had this conversation a lot of times within ourselves. We say, hey, if I help you adopt an AI platform, I can do that today, but someone else can replace us tomorrow, right? But what makes us irreplaceable, or and what I truly believe is ultimately now we all crave a little bit of the human touch, right? The authenticity, right? And it also is the fear that AI can make mistakes, and it has been making
Mm.
mistakes, right? And so that's when we say, hey, like, wow, this is the core of our business, right? We help to drive success in business, and that's when the idea of pairing an AI solutions, right, together with the talents.
Tell me about how that adoption has gone for you. Like, you're working with Singaporean companies. I have a
Yep.
feeling that AI adoption in Asia is a lot more embracing of it than I think the West for a lot of things. I think there's like some stigma in the West that maybe Asia doesn't have as much. I don't know. What are your feelings on this?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Well, I would say that ultimately it goes back to the idea of what AI really is to a lot of companies here in Singapore. I would love to say that they understand what AI does on a very surface level, right? But AI is so much more than that. It's so much more than just prompting. So I think many companies still they do adopt it, because it's easy. It's easy to go to ChatGPT and ask them a question, pull out some reports for me. But then when it comes to agentic AI, having to build an AI agent that's able to gel alongside the rest of your teammates, then that becomes a challenge. And it becomes something um for lack of better word, unimaginable to a lot of businesses. So we speak to a lot of business, right? Because we want to understand what are their problems, what do they have, and when we share with them a little bit about AI agents, right? Really just the tip of the iceberg. They get shocked, And the best response I've gotten was this founder saying, "Okay, I think you need to pause it right there, right? Because I cannot take it. It's too much." It feels to the founder. The founder was telling me how he or she felt that all of its workers could have been replaced at any point in time. So I would say that we are open to it on a very small scale. But when we think about it at a much larger scale, I think it is a problem that I guess a lot of companies are facing. They want to adopt AI, but they don't know how, and they haven't unlocked. They have not unlocked the true potential of what AI can do for you. So I don't think that there's a huge stigma against it, but it's more of like really an untapped resource. Yeah.
Talk about the potential it has, because you said a lot of people think about it as just, prompting.
Yeah.
A lot of listeners are probably unaware of, what they can do with it or what they should do with it or how it can actually help them. Can you kind of explain that?
Of course. Now, to fully understand that, to unlock that true potential, I always go back to use cases, right? I always go back to use cases that we can use AI for. So let me just give you a quick example, right? So I drive sales here in Talentport Asia. So the best way to really unlock that potential is to obviously use it for our own business, right? So one of the few things that I have had many problems doing was leads, right? Was like getting leads, crawling for leads, following up with the leads, and everything. And so one of the few things that I did was really just at that point, the exploration state. I say, hey, how about I build a CRM all by myself, right? In I would say, uh, 10 years ago, okay, maybe 5 years ago, building an entire CRM by scratch, that is a lot of work, right? And that's gonna take a whole company of people to do it for you. But fortunately, I did that within 2 days with the help of my younger brother, who's a lot more AI, savvy than me, right? And we built it in 2 days. with not a lot of work. I had my full-time job still, right? And and I used it and I realized that wow, like I could create a whole CRM by myself. Having the AI, the leads come in, the AI agent will automatically assign the leads to the different levels, do the follow up, send the email out, and I even explored getting the AI to do calling using a NLP, right? Those were all possible, right? I mean, I wouldn't use the word possible. Those were all already done, right? And I could follow through. So this is just an example. But if I were to go into what can we do, really just about everything. And I think I really want to encourage businesses, if you are listening to this podcast, to really shift your focus from, hey, can AI do this for me, to how is AI going to do it for me? Because it's not about a can or cannot question anymore. Really, we here at Port, we constantly challenge ourselves, right, between the co-founders and our partners, like, hey, what is AI? How is AI going to do it for you? It's not about whether it can, because it can. But now we are just limited by our learnings, how much we know about it.
What
Yeah,
what
hopefully that brings balance. Yeah.
what would you advise them to not use it for? Or what are some not good use cases that you've seen?
Love that question. So it is important to understand ultimately for the AI system, where is it, where okay, just at a very face value, right? Where are the data being stored? Is it stored on cloud? Is it stored locally in your drive? I think that's important, right? Because you I love that question. Well, it to do not use it for okay, you have to make sure you have a good security system to begin with. So with that, of course, it unlocks more things you can use it for. But at at a much lower level, please do not use ChatGPT, upload all of your customer data, and make it analyze for you, because, well, there's no I don't know what's gonna happen, right? I don't think you want to take that risk. Yeah, so do not use it for that. And yeah, so I think data protection is important, right? So which is gonna lead me to my next point. I think right now in this day and age, with how everybody is just throwing data everywhere to try to make sense of it, you gotta be careful where you put it into. Yeah.
100%. Um, I've been reading a lot of news articles about the cost of AI rising or maybe not getting subsidized as much. And some companies are realizing, oh, a junior developer actually is cheaper or something.
Mm.
Um, are you seeing that a bit? Because I'm sure outsourcing is still in some cases cheaper than AI.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I fully agree with you, right? I think it whatever you have just shared about how AI is shifting, I'm pretty sure you've heard about the token economy, right? They were moving to a token economy, which essentially how able your business is going to run will be how much token you're able to buy, right? So that's what we are. Like it or not, it is the case. And in Singapore, we do have subsidized AI. But along the way, you never know if these things will continue to be subsidized. You don't know how the revenue model is. You really don't know, right? So am I fearful of that? I wouldn't say I am fearful of that, because I think ultimately, uh, hiring somebody, like someone to do a role versus an AI, um, the businesses have to really uh taste it for themselves on the differences between hiring somebody to do the work versus the AI, right? You're talking about somebody who can work 24/7 for you. You're talking about somebody who um, doesn't require as much of support in terms of benefits. So all these things, if you put into account and take into account and you do the calculation, I'm very, very confident that that problem is something that we will face eventually, but still not a very significant one enough for us to say, hey, let's just totally take this away. Because I've always believed, and I always share with everybody, I actually believe in the core of talent port. And I've always shared that it is very much like when the internet first came to the world, right? When the internet first came to the world, everybody is a bit like, oh, I'm still gonna use print, right? I'm still gonna use print. I'm not gonna digital stuff's not really good and things like that. But the people who really went to digital, the people who took the early advantage is there, right? So now is the early advantage. If you move now, you're gonna be faster. But a lot of businesses are still adopting this wait and see approach, right? Which is understandable. But I think I feel like it is such an honor to live in this period where things are moving so fast and you really do have that advantage, right? Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
if costs rise, it does help a business like yours because you need to learn how to use AI smarter. You can't just throw everything at it. You need someone that
Mm,
kind of knows how it works and knows how to maximize their budget, in a way that a
exactly.
layperson wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to let you in on a little bit of an insider, there are AI platforms out there who that exist for the sole purpose of helping you to um decrease the amount of tokens used based on your prompts and based on how things are moving around and everything. So yeah, there is such things. So not something that we are very worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about having some education businesses. Are you using AI in education? And if so, how?
Oh, love that question. Yes. So I I've had so many conversations with people all over the world about AI in Thailand, actually, Adam, right? I've connected with someone from an international school there in Thailand, and of course, in Singapore, the use case and the amount of people here, a large pool of them. So, in AI in education, it's really important, actually. Why do I say it's important? Because, you see, a lot of times there are a lot of manual labor needed on the teachers. I'm just speaking maybe on behalf of the teachers first. On behalf of the teachers, a lot of manual labor, like having to pull out the right notes, having to pull out the right um, set of questions to share with the students, etc. So the AI can be used in terms of curriculum, uh, to check the integrity of the curriculum. That's something very important. Like, am I following what is tested? Right? Here in Singapore, we have very crucial national exams that I prepare my students for. Right? But I am at the point where I do not use AI for heavy question generations, which is to give like iterations and iterations of question generations. Now, I personally don't do that because I would much rather oversee that myself. So sure, I can ask AI to change a couple of numbers here and there, change the scenario, but in terms of the core of it, I still choose to remain um with the the question pool that we have. Not that not it's not because we do not trust the AI system, of course, but it's just that in terms of education, I think we really want to oversee and be very, very strict in ensuring the quality of what we hand out to our students. So back all the way to the question that you said, these are things that I do not use AI for. It's a own personal preference because I feel like I have the capacity. But of course, when it comes to simple things like administrative tasks, making sure the worksheets are formatted properly, and things like that, potting of some PDFs here and there. I mean, AI is there for the teachers to use, right? I think on a management level, what AI is used for safely, data safety always, right? It's really used to, definitely as a CRM, right? Like every other business. So checking your leads, making sure that you do close follow up, scheduling of the teachers, scheduling of the calendar, right? I mean, you have 3 classrooms, 10 teachers, 100 classes coming in the weekends. How are you going to optimize it? Things like that. So many, many, many use cases. And of course, we do use AI, but at the same time, being an education firm, we constantly got to make sure that the integrity of AI, how we use it, is at my topmost priority. That's something that I've always shared and preached to all of my teachers as well as my colleagues. Yeah.
In the education field, how are you seeing it among teachers and students, administration, parents? Like every single uh actor in this like has a different view and use case
Yeah.
for it. How do you see it in your centers?
Yep. I think well, maybe I'll speak from really just like the point of like management first. So in terms of management, it is always an uphill task to really want to adopt AI. It's something that I face in my own business, right? In other business in Talentport, I speak to so many businesses. That's the main problem that we're facing. So I would say clearly that in the tuition industry, it's not second. It's not new, right? We do still face that issue. So I would say that in terms of AI adoption, there is still some challenges. People who are not so willing to move to AI, right? But across the industries, in terms of teachers, AI usage is seen, right? I mean, we can go on to different platforms. You see, there are AI learning platforms coming up. Definitely not something new at all. So these are things that I guess that there are resources available for teachers, for students, and I think there are also AI platforms that do some sort of like the AI learns, right, and constantly gives you prompts, gives you questions that you're not doing well, and so from a teacher's point of view, I think the entire AI idea moving forward is gonna stick. But I do see that there are really both sides, right? Or in terms of really the teachers who are on the ground, not just those who are doing curriculum, but those who are on the ground. Some say, hey, AI is good. I've seen some of my students in school, their projects, the teachers just right there, use AI. Right? Use AI to generate as many ideas as you want. I want you to give me ideas. I want you to share with the classes your ideas. Because ultimately, AI is here to stay. So what's important? It's your storytelling skills, right? Your storytelling skills on what AI can do. But there's another side of the coin, another group of teachers who are like, hey, no. Like if you're using AI, I'm gonna disqualify you from competitions. I'm gonna mark you down, right? Well, I don't have a view on this. I think it really depends ultimately on the goal of the teachers as well as the project, the education, the curriculum. Now, in terms of parents, I think parents uh spoken to a lot of parents, they do use AI themselves. But many of them, they don't want their child to use AI. I'll be very honest. They use AI themselves, right? They tell me, hey, teacher Lowell, like, I'm using AI for this. Is it working? I say, hey, yeah, it is, but please be careful how you use it, right? So I don't think they are against AI usage themselves. But in terms of AI safety, that's another conversation altogether on how their child uses AI. So they're very careful over that. But you know how easily accessible these AI um, platforms are? I do see moving the lens to the students. They're using AI for everything. You say, hey, I don't know this question. I'm going to use AI for it. Now, you see, I have a bone to pick, right? Because I always feel that when you see a problem, and if the first thing you're going for at that age, where you're growing your critical thinking skills, your application skills, and you're going, hey, I don't know how to do this question, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. You use it, ChatGPT gives you the answer, you write it down. Now, that defeats the purpose of learning because you're just copying, right? Uh, that is something I'm very against personally because I think the AI is there to help you, but what AI also gives to students, it gives access to students, he gives knowledge to students who are lazy. I'm not sure if you agree with it. So this student haven't been to class, has not studied at all, lazy, procrastinating, sees the question, gives the answer. The teacher thinks this student is great. The student has the question done. And that is not fair for the student because it's an unfair. The student is given knowledge even though he or she doesn't pursue it. And that is a problem because then in that case, the student is really not learning, right? So this is something I'm very careful about, and I always tell my students like, sure, use the AI to confirm your answers and everything, but please do not let it take that skill away from you that makes you human, right? If not, all of you can be replaced by agents.
Well, that's the issue. If you're using it exclusively, then yes, why you instead of why don't I just go past you into the prompt myself?
Yeah, why you? Exactly. So, to shift the lens a little bit on how I conduct classes here at my center, we're called Heuristics Science. So I conduct my classes by saying, hey, you come here today. When you leave, you gotta make sure that you feel like you don't know a lot of things. This is what I tell them. Because it's what you're here for. If you're here for my lesson and you're paying for it, you gotta make sure that you're learning something new, right? You're not just coming here doing questions. Oh, come on, please do that in school. Don't bother coming for my classes, right? You make sure you want to come here. I want to teach you how to think. You got to use your brains, right? And I think that's something I would say that I'm starting to actually struggle with, especially with the younger kids, because they don't have that concept of, hey, AI is here to help me. They have that concept of, if I don't get this work done, teacher Lowell is gonna kill me. kind of mindset, right? You get where I'm coming from. Yeah.
It's hard with the incentives. Right now with school, the incentive is give me the right answer. And so if you have a tool that gives the right answer, they're going to use it. It's the incentive structure.
Exactly. Then maybe Adam, you've asked me quite a couple of questions, and I really, we've had such great conversations even before this, right? And I want to hear from you, coming from someone who also owns who's also in the education industry. How do you think we can best curb that problem of giving students that unrestricted access to AI?
I think it's tough. I come from a place where I think if AI is telling you what to do, it's bad. But if you're telling AI what to do, it's good, right?
Mm,
If you're asking it to, format something for you or design something that you have in mind and you're giving instructions, I think that's fine. Once it comes to you saying, "Hey, tell me what to think, tell me what to do," that's the issue. And the problem is you can't have it one or the other, right? It's this big black box where they can do everything.
I agree.
So I mean, the only way to do that is to just change incentives or change projects so that
Yep.
they have to, give instructions to AI and somehow make it so that it can't do it for them. That's the struggle.
Wow. Would have loved if you were my tutor back in high school.
Sure.
We agree. Really agree. Yes, yes. It is about ultimately you telling AI what to do, right? And not the other way. Yeah. I think it is a challenge, right? And I'm also constantly having that conversation with my students. And I say, hey, with the younger ones, I have to tell them don't use AI. I will know when you use AI. But with the older ones, I always share with them. I say that you need to understand that you are living in a world that is so crazy, right? And now I need to give you the skills to make you different, right? And if they see that, and if they see, you know, that value in what they're learning and the process of learning, it changes everything, right? So I go with the softer approach with the older kids, which is I actually let you know the value of why you're learning things rather than the shortcut way of just getting the answer from AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an uphill battle. So you're doing a good job.
It is. It is. I love it. I love my jobs. I love doing education and coming here, going back to the drawing board and seeing how I can help businesses as well. It gels in very well, right? You're seeing how the next generation will be impacted as well. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, this conversation has been fantastic. Tell people, where can they find you? What are the businesses you're running?
Okay, sure. So you can find me in talentportasia.com, right? I'm available on LinkedIn. I think perhaps I'll drop my LinkedIn profile down here. Contact me there. And of course, if your child is looking for science and math tuition, do visit me at Heuristics Science. We're based here in Singapore. We do both online and physical classes as well. And one of the things that we do focus on is on hands-on activities with the younger ones, right? So something the AI can never replace, right? We come down and we bring you around. We do conduct tours for our students, bring them to different places to explore science, hands-on activity to learn the concepts they learn in school, to see the concepts they learn in school. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Those links will be there. I really appreciate your
Yeah.
time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adam. It's a great my greatest honor to be here with you. Yeah, thank you.
Talk soon, okay?